Gece o que é sigilo? Welcome to Gajel, folks. It's your host, Fives. Hey fellas, thanks for tuning into Gajel. This is your host, Faisal. Today I'll have a guest who's a buddy of mine here. We went to the same university here to pursue our master's degree. He's a great personality and full of positive energy. We had a great time together during our college days. He's originally from Jordan, and today we will listen to his journey from Jordan to here in the United States and beyond. Without wasting any time, let's welcome Motaz. All right, my brother, thank you for joining in to Gajel. I appreciate it. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Faisal. I'm happy to see you, man.
Oh yes, the pleasure is all mine. It's been it's been a while since we last met in person, right? It's pre-COVID, and then just a little background. So we went to school together for our masters, and then I had the pleasure of meeting you there, and then a couple of other friends. We had a good time. I used to commute back and forth from New York. I used to stay in Virginia, and I don't know if you remember.
Really interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, you used to drop me off at the station at times, and I appreciate that. So the last time we met, it was pre-COVID, after we graduated masters, right? So after we graduated, we got in touch in WhatsApp. We spoke over the phone, but we haven't got to meet each other after graduation, right?
Yes, and I think you were much better at it than me. You always reached out. You always stayed in touch. So I appreciate that.
Oh no problem, not a problem. Yeah, you're like the the buddy for myself back in the days in that school during masters, obviously.
Thank you. Those were interesting days.
Interesting days, very interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I have a mixed feeling about it. If I think about it now, it was not entirely pleasant for me. If you take the commute thing, I used to go 4 hours to DC and then take train from there to Virginia and then do a 3-4 hour class and then come back again the same day. It used to be, it sounds hectic, and it used to be hectic for me. But other than that, fun wise, I don't know. I mean, I've been to bachelors elsewhere, but I think it was okay. It was okay for me, but I've met good people like you, and then other couple of friends, Bengali friends, and then everybody else. But for you, go ahead.
To me, you were probably this was your second experience because you've already done your bachelor, and I'm not sure how long you've been in the States before that.
Yeah, you're right. Bachelor's, I did a part of it. I finished it from Virginia, but I did a part of it from back home in Bangladesh in 2000. I think it was in 2007 that I got enrolled in bachelor's, and a portion of it in Bangladesh, and a portion of a little bit of probably like 2 semesters in Boston. And then a couple semesters in New York, and then I ended up finishing it in Virginia. So not entirely in Virginia, but yeah, I used to commute back then as well.
Yeah, so you've been around. In my situation, I've only visited the U.S. in 2016 as a J1 student. So it was right when I finished my bachelor's, and I got a chance to come on this exchange program and be a lifeguard for the summer, and then you get to experience and see the U.S. And I really liked it.
Right.
And then after that, a year later, 2017, I've decided I want to come as a tourist, and that what happened. So I flew back again on a tourist visa, and I really liked it. And you keep meeting new interesting people and nice people, and they give you advice here and there. And funny enough, because I was based in Virginia, around the area where our school was, and then a friend of mine was in Chicago, and he was enrolled in college over there. So I thought, I'm gonna go over there and start school with him at his school. And I flew there, and I really didn't like it because I did not like it. It was a little cold over there at the beginning of winter, and I was so used to Virginia that I thought there was a lot of difference over there, and I just didn't want to try and adjust to a new situation again. And it happened that a friend of his, actually it was his roommate, who lived with him, and he told me, oh, by the way, I have some friends who study in Virginia. And then when he showed me on the map, it was our school, which I was around the whole time, but I had no idea. So then I called them, and then they said, yes, you can register, but we would like to see you in person.
Right.
So the very next day, I bought an old Prius, and then I drove all the way back and got my acceptance letter, basically my I-20.
Right.
And then I went back to Jordan to apply for another visa. But I went the longest, or the longer route. And then I got the visa and flew all the way back again in 2018.
So J1 to B1 to F1.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I always thought I'm going to take the safest route,
Right.
and I'm going to try my luck. And then if it works, it works. If not, I'll figure something out. And it worked out for me.
It did, right? It did work out for you. But since you mentioned in Chicago, so what I was thinking, I've never been in Chicago, but I've studied all about it. It's weather-wise, it's very similar to Virginia, isn't it? Or no?
I don't think in the winter it is. When I went, I think it was, the beginning of winter. I can't remember the month. But it's not just the weather. Yeah, and I just didn't like the fact that I had to commute so far to get to the college from where I was supposed to, be staying.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
And then, you meet, you have friends. So this guy was a friend of mine back in Jordan.
Okay.
But then we really didn't get along in the U.S.
Oh, you didn't get along?
We did not, and that's something that was really interesting to me because I couldn't understand it back then because we're such close friends. But coming into the U.S., you start developing your personality differently. You have different views. I don't want to say you change your mind, but you become a little bit more open-minded about things and create your own ideas and conclusions. So we just could not get along, and I thought, if I stay, I'm gonna lose this friendship. So I'm just gonna find something else.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. So you were staying at his place, and he was kind of piggybacking you all around, taking you to schools and stuff like those.
Yes. So that was the case in the beginning.
I think that creates a little, I'm not doubting your friendship or whatnot. Don't get me wrong, but I think a certain sense of inconvenience was actually.
To both ends, to him and I, because he was already trying to start a business while he was studying, and he was kind of focused, stressed. He put a significant amount of money that he didn't want to lose, and then I feel like I came in, and maybe that added to his stress.
Yeah.
And then I tried to explain to him that, hey, I'm gonna do my own thing, don't worry about it. But then he felt obligated to be hospitable and help me out. So it was just not the right timing. And you think you have a plan for yourself, and you think you're gonna go in one direction, but then if you become a little more flexible, it could turn out differently than you expect.
Yeah, completely a different direction. Yeah, true that. I mean, are you still in touch with them? Did you lose that friend or?
We don't talk as much now. Yeah.
Okay, I see that. Yeah, but no, I was so yeah. That if you don't have a reliable commute, then I can't see it. If the school is far from home, I can't see how. And then also it's one of those initial adjustment period where you're trying to settle in, and any bad experience could turn out to be a big deal. That's the only reason when I first came here back in 2010, and my school was in Virginia from the get go, right? And then
But you were not staying in Virginia, were you?
It used to be in Annandale, by the Little River Turnpike.
But were you living in Virginia back then, or in New York?
So I landed in New York City, and then my aunt, my mom's sister, she lives here. She's been here for the longest, probably 20, 25, 30 years. So I ended up staying at Hearst, and for a week, and then I was gonna go to the dormitory, and then whatever, and then start school from Virginia, right? And then I came for orientation after a week. So after I landed, I actually got to explore New York a little bit, the nightlife, and then we were young back then, and then. It was very close to where I belong, right? I belong to Dhaka. It's a densely populated city with a lot of people around. So my thing was, if I don't see people around me, I kind of freak out. So New York was, very close to Dhaka, where I grew up, where I was born. and so I didn't have no problem. It was like an upgraded version of Dhaka to me, and then I see a lot of diversity, my community and other people, like places where I could party and stuff and all that. So I kind of liked it. So after a week, when I was preparing for Virginia, it was orientation day, and then I drove to Virginia. And then it was the same thing as you said. My house, but I was staying, where I was planning to stay. It was a little far, not too far. You probably like a 30-minute drive from where I was staying. So I took so it was public transportation back then, right? So I walked probably like 30 minutes, or probably.
Did you have GPS back then?
No,
that was not
as well. No, not on the phone. I mean, they used to use a little small tom kind of thing.
I don't think I would have survived in those days. I don't think I would have made it, to be honest.
No, it was no GPS, and then no update when the buses come in and go, and you just gotta come and see the signs and stuff. And then so I walked to the bus stop for like 15-20 minutes, and then come here, and I just saw the bus just left 5 minutes ago, and then the next bus is after an hour. The sun was beaming during summer, peak summer, and then there was no shade and whatnot. And I was with one of my other friends from Bangladesh. We went to the same school for a little bit, so we were thinking like there's no stores around, there's no businesses around. We're just in the middle of a highway kind of a location, and then waiting for the bus. So that was a turn off for me right there. And then the bus came. Well, we ended up cabbing. We probably called a taxi or something and went to school. And then
isn't it such an adjustment, man? From no matter how close it is to where you grew up, it's just a whole different world in the US to me. And my mouth was open for like a first year trying to absorb everything and trying to adjust to everything in here. It's just so different.
It is very different. So what I was saying, so when we had to take the cab and everything, paid a lot of money. We weren't expecting that much. So I didn't like the entire experience where you have to, there's no people around, there's no business around. And I'm talking about Virginia right now. It's a completely different scenario. It's a lot of people there. It's almost similar to New York City, right? But back then in 2010, it was like I was standing at the middle of nowhere. There was.
I wouldn't say it's close to New York City for sure.
I mean,
it is definitely packed. It's definitely very expensive, but it's still a little cleaner. I am into Virginia a lot. Even my wife, when she asks me, I would tell her I'm from Virginia.
Oh,
that's where I consider myself from.
So you're accustomed to it now.
Yeah.
So so am I in New York, but I'm gonna get to it now. My preferences are changing, so we'll get to it. But initially that was a turn off for me. So it was less people, less crowd, and stuff like those. So I ended up, moving back to New York. So I went to the school and said, I do not feel comfortable staying here. I'm going through a mental breakdown, whatnot. My advisor was pretty nice, and she said, we have an extended campus in Manhattan, so you want to join classes from there? Then I called my aunt and said, what do you think about it? I can't stay here because it's too remote for me. And she said, if you can, so what can you do? Just come over. So I ended up joining the classes from New York City. So I never got to. So I understand where you're coming from. So the whole Chicago experience, but it's interesting. I've never been to Chicago, but I was thinking it probably was very similar to Virginia, but I think I'm wrong. But you were talking back in 2017. Is that the year?
The year I started school was 2018. The two experiences before that was just for the summertime. Where you come to work for the summer and then you leave. But 2018, when I flew here, in the back of my head, I knew that was going to be a totally different experience.
So the very first time when you came here on J1, was it in Virginia or in Chicago?
It was in Virginia. They located me somewhere close to where our school was.
Okay, yeah.
And I was very comfortable with it. That's probably why I did not feel like
you liked it.
Yeah, being away. I actually still hang out over there in that area, in the mall.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Which area is it again? Since Virginia is my second home, I'm familiar with a lot of areas.
Well, the area is Vienna, Tysons, I guess.
Okay.
But around that area is where I feel actually comfortable.
Nice. I think that's the hub, isn't it? Like a lot of office going
Yeah.
people are there. A lot of work crowd.
Yes, it is, and close to it, I know that Google has an office. I think Amazon has an office in Arlington, Crystal City now. So a
A
lot of
lot of
businesses are moving
IT
there.
offices. Yeah.
True, and
Yeah.
also for the IT people,
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
it
That's
attracts.
pretty happening. It's pretty happening.
It is. It is.
Yes.
I don't live there anymore though. I don't live even close there. I live in DC right now.
Oh,
Which
you
is
live
a
in DC
story.
right now?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
nice.
moved into
Oh,
DC.
first
It's
of all,
been 2 years.
again, congratulations again. I know it's been a while since you got married.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. And I haven't seen you after you got married. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
absolutely. So where do you live in DC now?
I live in northeast of DC, and it's a nice neighborhood
I'm sure
in
it is.
DC. But DC is interesting. I don't know if a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. It's nice. It's easy
Including
to
me,
clean.
yeah.
Yeah,
DC to me, I would say, DC well, to me it's just traffic. It's I think I got I got into traffic the most numbers of times because our classes used to
On your
end like
commute?
during that time, and then
Yeah.
rush hours and get to the Union Station was a thing. But thank God it used to be underground. I used to take the trains, the public transportations, but
Yeah.
I can't imagine like on the
And
streets.
that's the beauty. The beauty of it. You can take a bus. You can take the metro. You could bike. You can use the scooters now.
Yeah.
Very accessible. And it's less
Almost like
intimidating than New York. New York with the huge, tall buildings. I did not feel comfortable. I like to visit New York, but I cannot think of myself
Not for-
living in New York City.
Same purpose.
Yeah.
I feel the same mixed feelings. Well, probably like 5 years ago, I used to have the same feelings. It's just feelings would be mutual, but these days I feel like I'm kind of I say it all the time. I've probably said it a lot of times in my previous podcast. I'm probably aging out at the moment. So all this hustle and bustles, I'm kind of over it in New York City, and also plus the law and order, the traffic and everything. If you compare to other states, I think it's New York back then and right now it's a completely different thing, and also the traffic and everything. So we actually ran away from our countries because of this type of scenarios, right? Traffic, thieves, thugs, robberies and corruption and stuff like that. So you get excuse me, you get to see those here as well these days, and that's very unfortunate. So I think I'm kind of aging out for New York. And also, it's also severely an age factor. I'm 37 now.
Have you thought about another state or somewhere we'd like to
relocate?
Yeah,
there's a state in my mind, and I'm pretty vocal about it. I always talk to my friends about it, trying to convince them to come move with me. I'm planning, but I have relatives in Texas, the state of Texas, and so I go there, visit them, and then in the process, I actually kind of fell in love with the state, especially after post-COVID. I would say post-Trump, post-COVID scenario. Yeah. So as soon as the New York City went downhill, and then I started even kind of like Texas even more.
It's the total opposite of New York.
It is pretty opposite, but again, diversity-wise, it's people are going there. Texas back in a decade ago, and now it's a completely different scenario. So back in the days, it used to be all it's either Mexican or white Americans, maybe a little bit of Black Americans, but that was it. But now you'll see your community, our community, a lot of Muslim communities, and then people from Bangladesh, a lot of them. So it's
very
changing.
interesting you said that, because that has been a conversation that I've been discussing with my wife. And I mentioned Texas. I said I can see us moving there. She has family there. I do have family too, on my mother's side. Nice. Yeah, nice. I got to visit them one time, but it was a very nice experience over there, and I think the future.
I was going to ask you that. Which part was it? Which part?
Went to Houston and Dallas.
Oh, nice. Those are the two hubs, actually. Two hubs. Yeah, I've never been to Houston, but I'm planning soon. So I've been to Dallas surroundings, and then Austin a little bit, San Antonio, but never been to Houston. But I explored it. You don't get to see much. It's pretty visible, the changes and stuff, and especially if you're actually searching what you're looking for, then it will just come right in front of you. So the diversity is there. It's growing. And then maybe it's a bad thing for native Texans. They might not appreciate it as much, but from my point of view, it's a plus. And then also the law and order is on point. It's a red state, it's a Republican state, and it's just more value for your buck. So the prices are
going up. The housing is more affordable, and you get more money for your you get more space for your money.
Right, that's true. That's true. So,
and you get to get a truck. So the plan is to move to Texas, and I want to get a big F-150 or Ford Bronco. That's kind of the thing.
That's the Texan thing. Yeah, if you want to get a truck, Texas is the state. I agree with that. So Texas, that's one state in my mind. Virginia, I would say it's any other state in our region, Northeast. It's about the same. New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Connecticut, Pennsylvania. It's about the same, more or less.
The thing with Virginia, man, it used to be affordable a little bit, and just before the pandemic, and we bought a house. We bought a house a year ago. My wife and I.
Congrats. Nice.
Thank you. And we were looking, and I was really pushing to go into the Virginia side. And my wife wanted DC because we both work in DC now. But we went and looked at a few options in Virginia, and it wasn't much of a difference than DC.
Right.
Either something old that is so expensive, or something that is even further away. And that was inconvenience for both of us. But in DC, you get something more expensive, a little smaller, but you don't have to use your car all the time. And you get to walk most of the places. I use my bike on the weekends.
Oh, nice. Very nice. So you bought the house after the price hike? So the price went up and everything, and then
we managed, actually. So the prices were high, but we managed to get a good interest. And it's funny because that's something I was trying to understand back then. And then my wife is American, so she was trying to explain to me why we need to hurry up. Why do we need to buy something now with low interest, because it is the move and you cannot afford it later. So we just managed to get something with a relatively good interest rate.
Oh, very nice. That's very nice. And then for us, we closed the hours in I think it was in 2018, right before the pandemic and then the price hike and everything. So we actually closed at a higher interest rate. We closed at 5%. But then we ended up refinancing it to 2.8. Yeah.
Oh, good for you. We got it at 3.1.
Oh, nice.
So we could have got the 8%, the 2%, but I guess we just missed that mark.
Oh, nice. But 3.1 is phenomenal. I don't think it's gonna ever come down this low.
No.
So yeah, good for you. Good for us, actually.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
you too.
Yeah. So DC is part of Maryland, right? So if you a quick question. So since it's probably the same thing here. So if you work in New Jersey, let's say you stay here in New York and you work in New Jersey, it's so you're paying New Jersey and New York both taxes. So is it kind of similar there?
No, luckily it's not. So in DC you don't have to pay Maryland or Virginia taxes. You just pay taxes in DC. Although it's still not a state. That's why the plates in DC say representation without taxation without representation, because it's still not a state and they don't have a senator.
DC is not within Maryland, so it's not considered as Maryland.
It is not. So I think the land is part of Maryland,
right?
But DC is a district. It's basically a district. Yeah, that's why District of Columbia. And the nice thing also, you don't have to pay on property taxes on cars, which is definitely a plus, because in Virginia you have to pay, and you pay pretty premium for that.
For the car?
Yes. In Virginia, you gotta pay every year property tax on your vehicle, and it's hefty.
It's hefty. Wow.
Yeah, especially if you have a newer car. A friend of mine has a 2020 Accord, and he had to pay $800. Another friend has a Sienna, the van. He had to pay $1,200 every year.
It's almost $100 every month. Wow, that's enough. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's annoying, but luckily you don't have to do that in DC. And the pay rate is interestingly higher a little bit in DC than in Virginia or Maryland, just because of cost of living, I guess. So if you live with your partner, then you can have a good house income.
Right.
In total. So that's a good thing about DC. The cons is the traffic, as you said. It can be unsafe. There's a lot of political issues. I don't like it during Christmas time and Thanksgiving.
Let's say, other than political violence and whatnot, is it like relatively safe, in neighborhoods in DC? Like,
it is interesting. I try to answer these questions to my family, to these questions to my family, because they ask me, you hear about DC. For the most part, I don't see anything. But things like car theft, package theft is annoying. As a male, I don't personally feel unsafe at any time of the day, but if your car is outside, I had 3 broken windows in 1 year.
Smash and grab. Wow.
Yes, so they do that. Packages, I was saying, during Christmas and Thanksgiving, good luck getting a package delivered. It's a big deal.
So it's not a New York thing. It's here. So let's say if you're.
Is that the same thing in New York?
Oh yeah. That's also one of the reasons that we have like about 7 or 8 cameras surrounding the entire house, but it's not enough. You can't really do about it. They're
it happens at such a high volume that the police tell us, nothing we can do. We have actually, the community had a conversation with the police department, and they said, here's another number where you can text if something were to happen. Have your cameras on the whole time.
So unfortunate, man. It's just you're a victim at every angle. I feel like. It's just something so basic that needed to be regulated, every time. So let's say the last time my package was stolen was last week. So we adopted. I saw your profile picture in WhatsApp. You have a cat and everything. We adopted a little one, a kitten, 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
that's good.
And everyone's loving it. So everyone. Yeah. So my elderly parents lives with me. We live together, my wife and everybody. So, excuse me. So at the very beginning, I didn't let them know that I'm bringing a cat. They were like so against it. At the very beginning, everybody was yelling at me like, "Why didn't you let us know? Why did you bring it?" and stuff like those. My mom is a little allergic, but now my wife literally, she fell in love with the kitten, and then my mom too. She's like, side-eyeing the cat a little bit, and then she kind of like the kitten. So everybody is a big fan of the kitten right now. So this
what did you name her?
So Gucci.
Okay, nice.
That's my wife named her him. It's his a male.
Boy.
It's a boy. So it's a Scottish Straight. That's the breed. We're loving him.
In my case, I wanted to have one actually, and my wife was hesitant. I like dogs. I think they're a lot more smarter and more affectionate.
Yeah.
But for religious reasons and for having to take them out the whole time, clean after them, feed them, it's just a lot of work and commitment.
True. Very true.
And I like my house to stay clean, so. That option was pretty good. It's a little crazy. I had to close the door basically to keep her outside because she was not
I think when you were trying to log in, I saw the tail and stuff. So I'm like, there you go.
A lot of fun,
But it's a good companion, I would say, because when I'm working so this is my basement. This part is a little studio setup. The other side is just a fairly smaller portion. So that's the place where I work out. So every time I'm working, so that's where the cat lives. So every time I'm working out, he kind of plays with me. He's looking at the dumbbell, going up and down, stuff like that. So it's kind of funny. It's a good companionship.
It is for sure.
Yeah. But Motaz, so you're from Jordan. So tell me a little bit, in a nutshell, of course. So the journey so far in the United States. You mentioned about the J1, B1, and F1. So other than that, culturally, how different is Jordan than here? And then religiously, friend-wise, and stuff like this. Everything in a nutshell, if you want to.
I know there's kind of an idea about the Middle East in general, but in in my mind, and I haven't changed that. I think Jordan is more on the open-minded side. The community is open and exposed to the West. You will definitely find super religious people. You'll find people who, have their own opinions, but for the most part, that is an open-minded country.
Right. So by open-minded, can you give me an example, like how?
Sure.
Open?
So one of the things that I get asked is that everybody wears a hijab there. No, not everybody wears a hijab.
Yeah, that part is understood. That's pretty liberal back home as well. So let me ask you this: I'll say we'll start with the worst. So do you have a strip club back in Jordan?
Not a strip club. Not even a club in a sense, but they wouldn't say it's a club, but people can go hang out, drink, party, dance. You can go to the Ditzy and do your own thing over there.
Got it. Okay.
Not in a sense where I'm picking up my girlfriend and going in front of everybody's eyes.
Okay,
no,
it's more conservative. It's not enforced or anything like that. It's just not getting shut down. But it's just there, but it's not officially recognized. Okay, it's the same thing back in our country.
Is it? Okay. Because people think it's like Saudi Arabia or something. Not to insult anybody, but I know some countries are more strict than the others. And but in Jordan, they're a little open-minded. They care about what is going on outside. In that sense.
I see. So culturally, it's still a shock. It was. I'm sure.
Yeah. To me, it was meeting new people, practicing English, trying to adjust to the rules, regulations, going to the DMV, getting your license, trying to find a car to buy, paying for rent, finding a place to rent. Just the whole thing was an adjustment.
So initially, what was the fun part? Like, why did you end up staying here? So you mentioned you came here in J1 and you liked it here, the environment and everything. So what was the one thing or a couple of things that attracted you the most?
I mean, it's definitely more green than Jordan to begin with.
Less pollution.
Yeah,
less pollution.
I mean, not even pollution. Jordan is a little deserty in some parts.
Oh, I see. I see what you. Okay.
And I studied basically in the middle of the desert over there. I did not like it. So coming here, seeing all the green, people are very nice in here. You can find a job and make a living easily. People don't care about, what your family is doing and what are your roots. It's if you're polite, if you're respectful, if you work hard enough. And in my experience, it paid off. So I like that. And then, it gave me the freedom that I wasn't seeking, I guess, in Jordan. But, you get to be responsible, do your laundry, you gotta work and earn money. But then you can go out and have fun and meet people and go, clubbing back when it was an option. So I just like that.
That's interesting. You mentioned, people are not judging you. Is it a little judgmental back home in Jordan?
That's one of the issues that I've had there. People have to ask you about your last name, and then they would judge you based on your last name. It's a big thing.
Casting system.
Yeah. So it's about tribes and where you're from and what your family does, what your father does for a living. It's more involved about what is your heritage than what have you done for yourself.
Oh wow.
So I like not being known here and just being nice to somebody and do the right thing, and you'll be recognized for that. Plus, on the economy side, it was really hard finding a job once I graduated. I finished my bachelor in Jordan in civil engineering, construction engineering, and I couldn't find a job. It's very competitive. You gotta be really smart. You gotta know someone who might find you a job. I didn't study that hard, to be honest. I wasn't interested in it, so partially it's on me. But even with that, I couldn't find a job. A couple of my friends actually couldn't. So one of them is a personal trainer now. The other does something different. And coming here, being able to find a job on day one,
it's impressive.
That was what attracted me.
Nice. Yeah, I mean it's almost identical from my side as well. It's just the corruption, a lot of people fighting for the same position, And then, but casting system, I see what you're saying. But back home, the last name didn't mean anything if you don't have money. So from our end, from our Bangladesh perspective, so it's if you're wealthy, people will treat you nice. If you're not, maybe not so much. But the last
royalty,
name,
is that what you said? Wealthy.
if you're wealthy, yeah, if you're
I see.
wealthy, then they'll treat you nice or whatnot.
Is there a lot of wealth in Bangladesh, or is it with like
There is
small amount
certain
of people?
people, certain maybe 5 or 10% of people, maybe even more. I do not have the current stat, but it's just people, but very minimal people have a lot of money. It's just huge amount of money, but
And those
mostly
were like an
people are.
average people, or maybe a little bit less than the average, like financial wise, with money.
Financially, yeah, struggling. 85% people are below poverty level, so they're struggling. They're hand to mouth, or not even. It's a very poor country. It's a developing country. There's a lot happening right now, but it's just the financial adjustment is there, so the financial discrimination is there, and along with a lot of other stuff. So it's just not one thing which will motivate you to move away from your country, but it's just a lot of other things
Was that
together.
one of the reasons why you decided to do this move?
Yeah, for me, if the thing was my maternal uncle, the uncle that lives in Texas. So he applied for us for our entire family probably like 25 years ago. So the entire migration process took about 13 years. So by then I actually aged out. I was about 21, so I couldn't make it with my family, with my parents. But their first letter came in, and they were preparing for the interview. So and then my family was like, "You're planning to move, so we're kind of confused. What are we gonna do?" So and then I was like, "Let me apply as a student and see if I get the visa, and then I'll just fly there, and then we'll see. We'll take it from there."
Which was a very good move. A lot of people do that. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But again, after coming here, after getting in touch with a lot of lawyers, they said you should have actually stood with your family, faced the interview with your family. They would have granted you the visa, because the whole thing was when your uncle applied for the family, that's when you were below 21. So it doesn't matter how old are you right now, you could have still made it.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my god, yeah, it's just
I believe if it comes too easy, then you're not gonna appreciate it. So now for sure you're gonna appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I'm appreciating. I'm hunting right now, for the adjustment right now. But alhamdulillah, whatever I have, it's just I'm so grateful to whatever I have. It could have been worse, could have been way worse, could have gone downhill. Just so grateful, and I'll ever be grateful, alhamdulillah. So that's my main push was everybody was preparing to come here, and we had a plan that we're gonna settle here. We're gonna move out pretty much. So when I was studying in the universities, I couldn't even graduate, but I didn't even graduate. But I saw the hustle. I saw my elderlies, my cousins, my people that I knew. They were struggling left and right for a job. Just to maintain a certain lifestyle. Forget about the lifestyle. It's just survival was at risk at some point back in the day. So I'm sure the struggle was there, but I did not face it like you. How you mentioned that you had graduated and you faced it yourself, but I couldn't get that chance. But again, I moved out, but I knew it was there. It was going to happen to me as well. But I actually moved out before that happened to me. So
the issue was that you don't have a future. You don't know what your future is. So you went to school, and then okay, now what? You got to find a job, but then you can't find a job, so you get stuck. My younger brother, who's now 27, I think, has been graduated for 2-3 years and still cannot find a job. And it's interesting because I've been here permanently since 2018. And then every time I call them, I have a chit chat with my family, they're still going through the same struggle. So in a sense, you kind of travel through time, and they're still stuck behind, and you really want to help them out. So that's a different story. But then you try and reflect that on yourself. If I was still there, what would have happened? Probably not much. So those 5 years, no matter how hard it was, but to me it was really worth it.
No, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. Interesting. I was going to ask you this as well. So you experienced various types of visas, and then ended up adjusting your status to a permanent residency. You're a resident now. So I'm sure it
Can
was
you
a
hear the
struggle.
cat? Sorry about that.
Huh?
Can you hear the cat in the background?
No, I can't hear anything. That's probably. So yeah, what I was gonna ask you is, so you have experienced different type of visas now, so ended up adjusting your status as a permanent resident at the moment. So would you say it was very struggling, moderate? It was okay. How would you describe it? Like, was it the struggle level? How high it was?
When I think about it, I don't see it as a struggle. I see that you need to have a plan. And then yes, you need to follow through, and you need to try and be as legit as possible, because that's to me what got me through. I didn't
Very
have to buy right to them. Yes.
Yep.
So you just go with confidence and you get your paperwork exactly how they want it. So to me, I don't think it was a struggle at all. I managed to apply the first time. I got everything that they've asked for, and I was very excited about it. And I made sure, that's again, I think at the beginning I told you that I went the longest route, but I wanted to go the safest route.
Right. Well, yes. Since you have the right mindset, you were everything was expected. You were expecting everything that was coming.
You hope for the best. I don't think I was expecting it, but you kind of manifest it, and then you pray to God that it might happen. And if it's what's the best for me, then inshallah, it's gonna happen. If not, then I'll just have to find another way.
Right. So F1 did not, bother you a bit. So, for an example, during F1, you're not allowed to work outside. Maybe 20 hours, whatever, based off CBT or whatever you choose. And then at the same time, you're actually paying off your tuitions as well. So it was that part, and then maintaining a certain lifestyle. Because you're young, we're young. At that time, we needed to have a certain type of lifestyle as well. Social life, whatever. And also, Virginia is not a cheap city. So living there as well. So you need a lot of money in order to operate. So, and then F1 restricts you to earn money. So,
that's a very good point. That's a very good point, because the previous two visas that I've had, I did not have to pay to be in the U.S. and to stay legally. You just come in. The first time they provided me with work and everything, so I just had to work as much as possible to make money, and I didn't have much expenses. On a tourist, you kind of expect you're going to be here for a few months, so you budget yourself, and then you're trying to have fun. So that was fine. But then on the F1, you're paying for your tuition, which was the biggest portion.
Twice as much as compared to the in-state tuition.
And then the housing, so you gotta stay somewhere. Plus, in the Virginia, and you can't just use the public transportation. You gotta have a car. So you start your journey by finding those cheap cars that might work, might not. So that was the biggest challenge for me, especially with the F1. With the F1 visa, I feel like I matured, because I had to count on myself, and then you have to figure out how you're gonna budget your expenses, what makes sense, what doesn't. If you're gonna spend it on going out, or you're gonna save it because you're gonna eat for the rest of the month. So you start thinking as an adult on the F1 visa.
Right. So based off your experience, would you recommend a fellow person from Jordan an F1 visa? Would you encourage anybody to come as an F1 student here?
I would say absolutely you should do it. Absolutely. Not just to get a degree, but the whole experience to me was life changing, because you get to dig in deep in your personality and who you are, and you get to ask questions that was never in your mind, and you kind of like in a journey to figure out yourself. You learn more about life, you create new friendships, you get out of your comfort zone. Hopefully you get a degree at the end of it. So to me, just the experience by itself is definitely worth every single penny, every sweat. To me, that was the best and hardest, time of my life as an F1. But I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, very well said. I mean, I totally agree. I can't agree more. Everything, you mature during the process, right? You're on your own. You're actually fighting for yourself, for your survival and
Literally.
stuff like those. It's actually a test of responsibility. You're very right.
And then one more thing is that I don't think I would have managed to find my wife and present myself the person I am if I didn't have to go through that struggle.
The process, yeah.
Yes. So the process is what's important.
So
because
a journey from a kid to a man is what it is.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I try, because more people are coming to study in the US now. And then they have this question of how did you do it? How did you get married? How did you do this and that?
Yeah.
And then honestly, my question is just try and finish your degree. So if you can do that and maintain yourself and your life, then you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. It's a very good observation, actually. And thank you for sharing that. So America, United States of America, it has managed to sell the American dream to the entire world, right? That's also
Absolutely.
one of the reasons a lot of people moves into this country. So for me, I'm still chasing mine. So I would like to, ask you, where are you in terms of your American dreams, chasing your American dreams? Where are you right now at the moment?
We're just starting. We're just starting.
We just started. Then for me, it's been a decade. I'm still getting to start. It's just never ending. I don't know if if the chase is gonna ever end. But again,
they say measure 2 times and then cut 1 time. I feel like this whole process of preparing yourself and staying afloat, and then at the end of the road or at the end of the tunnel there is a light, and then all of this is just more tools under your belt that you will use eventually to be able to get to the life that you're expecting for yourself. So I thought before that finishing school was my goal, and then I thought getting the green card was my end goal, and then after that you start thinking, well, how about a better job? And then you get married, and then who knows, maybe kids, maybe something. So it's a never ending
thing. Yeah, I totally agree. And that's what I was gonna say. It also depends on your preference a lot. So let's say where you want yourself to stop. So for an example, if I own a house, if I own a car, that's it for me. That's my American dream. So I would like to own my car. Well, maybe not car. Car is very, very materialistic. But let's say if I own my house, for a lot of people, that is it. I see myself successful. I would like to raise my child in my house. I would like to die here, whatnot. That is a success for a lot of people. For a lot of people, it never ends. It's just I'm a millionaire now. I'm not stopping till I'm multi-millionaire, and then a billionaire, and then I don't know what else. I mean, it never stops. And also, I strongly feel like it depends a lot on your preference, on your the hunger for need, stuff like those.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same in Bangladesh, but in Jordan, once you reach the retirement age, it's basically your death age, because once you're retired, then there's nothing else for you to do. And I feel like if you stop learning, if you stop chasing something, dream, no matter how silly it was, no matter how easy it was, but as long as it makes a difference to you and it's relevant to you, this is how we keep living. My plan is to not age. And it's funny to say that, because I don't want to get to a point where too grumpy, there's nothing for me to do, I could just sit around the house doing nothing. I would like for always to be something there in my life that I'm chasing. I feel like that's what fuels me, and that's what brings me the pleasure.
That's what keeps you going.
Yeah, it's not the achievement itself, it's just the journey. Yeah, it could be a house, wife, a car, and then work is something that I'm seeking now, finding a better job, maybe starting your own business. But it could be something as silly as a guitar, learning how to play something, or working on your body, something like that.
Right. So once you reach at a certain level of your expectancy, so you would still not stop, right? So since you're the other part of the group,
Yeah,
like you asked,
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
so you're always like, what's next, right? What's next for me?
Yeah, it has to be like that. Otherwise, it gets boring. It gets lonely a little bit in the US. I don't know if you share the same thought with me. You have your family living with you. I'm on my
Yeah.
own. I'm on my own, and
Right.
there's
Right. Right.
this gap that you
That is true.
can't
That's
help
right.
but feel if you just sit around the house for 2 days doing nothing.
Scenario is different. That is true. That is true. But again, I don't know if I'm gonna be at the same boat as you, but I think like, uh, I don't know. Maybe I haven't got to start on it yet, but I feel like if after I reach at a certain level, I would like to enjoy my achievements. You know,
How would you enjoy it? Are you gonna buy stuff, or are you gonna be traveling and doing
yeah,
things?
mostly like, let's say if it's a monetary thing, let's say if it's money, I would like to, I would like to enjoy the money that I've earned. If we're talking in terms of money, let's say if I bought a house, let's say if I bought a house, I'd like to enjoy that house, maybe work a little less. So I don't know if I'm phrasing it right. So let's say if I'm working for something, let's say if I'm working to buy a house, I'm working day and night. So as soon as I purchase the house, I'm probably maybe working days, not nights anymore. So I'd like to relax a little bit and then get to enjoy my achievement. And then maybe after that, once I'm, as you said, if I'm getting bored, if it's not motivating me enough, maybe I'll start something else. But for me, I probably would love to slow down a little bit after I achieve something. I think that's just my perspective. I think that's also very important. If you're because we don't know when when the game is gonna end. So we might pass away any time. But again, if you're not
That's true.
enjoying what you have, whatnot, then what's the point? But again,
No,
I feel
it's definitely. I agree with you on that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that once you get to enjoy what you have, you should be striving. At least for me, I should be striving for something else, more to achieve. I think you can relate to this. You work hard, you save on money, you don't have money most of the time, and then you get a certain level. For example, I bought a car that I really wanted, that I didn't need, but I wanted to enjoy an achievement. So I bought myself a Mustang, just because I always wanted one.
Nice.
Yes, but then you gotta work much harder because you gotta afford the gas now. You need to afford the gas.
You need to afford the gas, and then it's an 8-cylinder, right?
It is not, and it's disappointing to say so.
It's still a mess. I mean, if speed doesn't matter to you, I mean, speed not at all matters to me.
It is.
It's just the look, the name brand, and whatnot.
I like it for the way it looks. For the heritage of a Mustang.
Right.
I do regret a little bit not buying a V8. But I'm very happy with what I have. Very happy with it.
Nice, alhamdulillah. Happy for
Alhamdulillah,
you.
yes.
That's an achievement. So did you slow down a little bit after you got the Mustang?
Well, I got the Mustang because I was able to find a better job, and I was very happy with it. So I knew I can afford it. So I did that. The next step is actually, I just arrived today. I'm gonna try and be a real estate agent. I just got the book today in the mail.
Oh, nice. That's a good thing. That's a good step to move forward with. That is a good thing. Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So are you taking your state exam and everything?
So I think next week I'm gonna start the course itself. I still don't have much of expectation. I think what got me thinking about it is when we were looking for a house. There was just so many questions that I didn't know how to answer, and I felt kind of, I don't want to say embarrassed, but you feel a little ignorant because it's basically one of the biggest commitments you'll ever make.
Yeah. It's your life.
It is, and then but you don't know what a mortgage is. You don't know what interest rate is. You don't know what a good area, if the house is in a good shape or not. There's just so many questions that I needed to learn along the journey, and luckily, my wife was very helpful. In this purchase, but I wanted to learn for myself and start looking online, and I've noticed a lot of successful people manage properties and purchase properties. So I thought that might be something I can study to see if I can do or not.
That's very good though. That's always gonna be there. It's never gonna fade out or anything in this country.
Yeah.
Maybe anywhere in the world. It's just gonna grow. No, that's just one market you can be confident of. But since you mentioned purchasing and maintaining, so what's your plan in long term with the real estate license and everything?
So
So are you gonna?
yeah.
flip that-
I don't, so
I'm
again,
sorry. No, go ahead.
no, you ask your question and then I'll
No, I was gonna say. So a lot of people buys and sells themselves, and then a lot of people just keeps the property rented out on Airbnb and stuff like those, or just be an agent and keep selling the houses. What are you planning?
So my plan is to start a little slow. So to me, if I pass the test and then I gain the knowledge, that is perfect. But then I do want to try and take one more step into it. Do you know Robert Kawasaki?
Robert Kawasaki.
So
Is it the
he's
inventor of the Kawasaki motorcycle, or but
no, he's not. But he's the one who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you heard of that book, and it's basically talks about his poor dad who has a PhD, and about his rich dad who's his friend's
I
father.
think I've heard it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've heard that story. Yeah.
So I highly recommend that for anybody who wants to be involved in real estate. He has a channel on YouTube and he talks about real estate in general. And I liked what he talks about. I like the confidence.
What's the name again? The first name? Kawasaki is the last
Robert.
name. Robert
Robert
Kawasaki.
Kawasaki.
I'll look him up.
Yeah, definitely. And what's interesting is that he's super wealthy, absolutely wealthy, but he does not invest in stocks and he does not invest in bonds or anything. His only investment is properties. And the beauty of it is that you can build your wealth based on debt. And that was his challenge when he first finished his course, is that his teacher told him, go buy a house without putting any money from your pocket. Which might be a little hard now, but if you think about it, banks will give you the money to buy something, a house. If you can use that properly, and then that's what I'm trying to learn. You can buy a fixer-upper, you can fix it a little bit, you can find investors who would financially help you out, and then you can take something called
Equity loan.
Yes. So home equity loan, and then you'll be able to reinvest that in another place, and then that will give you benefits on the taxes, so you don't have to pay tax on it. So to me, it's just a game, and the more you know about it, the more it will benefit you.
So you're trying to know the in and out of the entire real estate world, and then whatever suits you, you're just gonna keep on going with that.
Yes. So I'm gonna try and take it step by step. The issue for me is that I can never be out of job. So I will never quit my job to focus on one thing. I am somebody who is, if I'm not making money, then I'm the weakest. There's no way for me not to be able to work and make money, sustain myself, my family, and then the rest. So I'll take the course first, have a sense to it, and then see if I can maybe be a real estate agent for a while. Maybe I can work with a company. I don't know what's going to happen, but I guess we'll figure out.
Right.
So I'm very excited about this.
No, I'm excited for you. No, that's a very good decision. Yeah, that's one thing. Like I said, that's one thing. I'm after my PhD is done and everything, I'm trying to get my foot into insurance. That's another pie that's never gonna go away from this country. So I'm hopeful for that. So yeah, if you don't try, if you don't get to know it, you just miss it.
And I think that's the biggest lesson in the U.S. You just gotta try. You gotta be out there. You don't know absolutely nothing, but then you start reading, you start doing your due diligence and do your research.
Absolutely. It's not like that's the difference. So the tries are worthy doing. And this is the land of opportunity. It's gonna happen if you're at the right track. It's just it's just a matter of time. It's all
knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge out there, and the more you learn, the more you're gonna make money, and the more you're gonna be confident. Do you know who what's his name? Patrick David? Have you heard about this guy?
I've seen his podcast. He's a huge real estate mogul too, right? Before he started.
Sorry, go ahead.
before he started well, he's into a lot of things. Yeah, he's into podcasts at the moment, but I think he built his empire based off real estate. He used to own an agency and stuff. Yeah,
I think he built his wealth, or if he invested in an insurance company, I think. I'm not sure if that's how he built his wealth, but I was listening because I was trying to figure out how did he make his money. And apparently he just sold his insurance company for $500 million.
the insurance
Something
company.
like that. I didn't read his bio, but a very interesting guy. And when you said
he is. I was listening to one of his wife's interview. I mean, his wife's one of the interviews. I'm saying one of his wife's interview. He just have one wife. Don't get me wrong. So his wife's one of the interviews, and she mentioned how they met back in the days. So back in the days, Pet used to own an insurance agency, and his wife used to work for him. That's how they,
and he's an immigrant, right? He lived in camps in Germany, yep. I think, or something. So very inspiring.
Yes, very inspiring. So now I saw his house. It's he's just.
I did see that. Yeah. In Florida, Fort Lauderdale.
In Florida, Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. Amazing house, and then. I think that's when you should stop, Motaz. Once you get to that point, you could just enjoy what you have.
But then even for them, no, I think they are enjoying, but they're still making money. I feel like once you figure out how to make money, you cannot stop. Even if it's fun, you're still making money by being funny. They're doing their podcast, they talk politics, they talk finance, they talk business, they exchange ideas and opinions, but it's a business.
Yeah, that is true. And especially if you have a certain amount of money, after a while, it just you set it on automation. It just keeps bringing more money for you. So so it just happens. I feel like but again, I'm sure it has its cons. I don't know what it is, but that's a great example. I mean, that's somebody to look forward to. That brings me to the next question. So if you want to introduce yourself professionally, what do you do right now?
Currently, I work with the Department of Parks and Recreation. I am a facility manager.
Nice.
Parks and Recreation, they offer a lot of classes and activities and recreation centers for the public.
Yeah.
I work in one of them. I manage an aquatic center.
Nice.
Yes. So it's funny enough because I first came in the U.S. and I worked as a lifeguard.
Yes, you did.
And then, we finished masters, and a friend of mine sent me a text saying, "Hey, this is a managerial position, but working with lifeguards, and you have the experience, so you should try and apply." So I actually got my first, I would say, serious job with a county outside of DC in Virginia, and I was a supervisor. And then I found this position here in DC, and I applied to it, and I got it. So I train lifeguards, I certify lifeguards. I know a lot of pool chemistry.
Right.
So that is my field.
So that's what you do in your current position?
Yes.
Oh, you certified. Nice. That's very nice. So I was wondering. So you mentioned something about earlier in the text. So there was a process of getting the job and everything. You faced something during the process, or what is it that you wanted to mention?
Not sure if I can remember now, but regarding the job, yes. To me, it still is the hardest thing, because I meet people, and they just seem like they know what they want to do for a living, and they seek that route. For me, it was more about surviving my situation. And then my job kind of found me just because I happened to work as a lifeguard, and I had that experience for a couple of years, if not 2 years.
Right.
So for me now, finding a job that I'm more passionate and something that I can see as a career, and something that I would want to make a lot of money on, hopefully. To me, that is the focus right now, inshallah, and that's why I wanted to try out take that real estate course.
Nice, amazing. So another topic I would like to say that's very that's something matters to me a lot. So I used to back home. I used to have a lot of friends that I left back there. So it's been over a decade. So I aged out. I got married. A lot of different phases in life. My friends back home are too. We're still connected. I kind of still miss those days. And then I missed them so much as soon as I came into this country. Those were my homesickness, I would say. So my friends were my homesickness back in the days. I still miss them to death. So my question to you: so in Jordan, you had a lot of friends too, or your social life was full of friends, cousins, and relatives, whatever?
That's a very good question. I feel like in to me, I didn't have many friends. I knew a lot of people, but I had a very close group where we've done everything together. And you kind of grow up together and do everything together. So that was very hard for me coming in here.
Right.
Sure, but then you start living your life, and then life kind of separate you apart. And I unfortunately I could not maintain the friendship, especially over there. They got married, I got married, but we barely stay in touch now.
Friends from back home, right? Did you end up making a lot of friends here? You have a lot of friends here?
I wouldn't say a lot of friends, but I did make some very good friends. You start to have a lot of connections and this and that. But I feel like I also created my own group here as well, which is something I would really like to work on. A friend of mine that I met, he's Iraqi, and to me he was amazing how his personality works. He just attracts anybody and everybody. He's just very nice to everyone.
A charmer.
He is, for sure. And he just, people wants to please him and they just want to be around him. It's just how his personality was. I'm not like that in any way, so I wish I can be like that. Maybe there's something I can do to come out of my shell.
No, I'm sure.
Or maybe you have an advice.
Yeah, you're a charmer yourself. I remember the college days. A lot of people used to like him in the class, and the professors. You give a lot of positive energy. I felt it, and then as a friend, being around with you was good. But no, I see what you're saying. But for an example, so those were like networking, and I would say friendship. Let's say the friends that you used to have back home, not that type of friendship here, right? I'm just trying to relate myself.
Not as close. I don't think I have that close friend that I used to have back home. I don't think I would want that anymore, to be honest.
Right. I figured that since you're motivated in other ways, you wanna stay productive and motivated every day. So that's just optional. But I get it and I totally respect it. But it's just one of those emotional part of mine that just looks around back in the mind and then be like, good.
But I feel like it's just how life is, right? You move on. So there's a period of time where you have to work on yourself, build a career, get married, and then the priorities changes.
Very true.
For you and for your friends. So I used to think about it a lot. It used to bother me a lot. Why we're not friends anymore. I kind of blamed them at some point, and I know they blamed me as well. But then you try and think about it a little further, and you realize it's not that we hate each other now. It's not that we don't like each other.
It's life.
Life. So they get married, I get married. I have my own issues and problems. I haven't seen them in 5 years. My issues are not relevant to them, and vice versa. So you gotta have to learn to live with it and be easy on yourself and on them.
That's very true. I totally agree. Yeah, that was an awesome time spent together. I enjoyed a lot thoroughly, like I always do, in different sessions. But it was very good seeing you after a long time. I know we are pretty much now WhatsApp buddies. Then other than that, we don't get to
Not like that.
So my master is done. I'm doing PhD, but that's like heavily virtual and then online. So I don't get to go to Virginia that much, and it's also in different campuses. So I'm trying to go to the Texas campus now, since I have an agenda to, move sometime near future, and so I try to go there. and explore a little bit. But they do also have a DC campus. But next time I go there, I definitely reach out to you. And
I would love to have you, man. And if I ever go to New York,
please
soon,
do.
I'll definitely reach out to you.
Yeah, so if you come here for a couple of days, maybe one day, I could show you around. So throughout the days, throughout the years, I've seen New York in different angles. So based off the timing that you come, I could recommend you to some very good places, nature wise, city life wise, whatever. I could show you around.
I'll take you on that for sure. New York is huge, and it's good to know somebody in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I thank you very much for taking your time out of your busy
Thank you. I
schedule.
appreciate it.
Not
I just want to say, the therapy here is a big topic, and people talk about it, and I feel like this is a therapy session. All you need is just a good friend and just chit chat about life in general, and they'll feel much better about it. So thank you so much. You made my day, actually.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm overwhelmed, my brother. So, yeah, thank you. I totally agree. It just releases stress a little bit. You're just zoned out from work, from your day-to-day, whatever that you're going through a little bit, maybe like for a couple. How long did we speak? Probably a couple hours now. So,
I think so, yeah.
so it's just something. It just happens there, and then the next time I'm gonna see this video, I'll upload and I'll see this video. I just keep smiling, looking at us.
I appreciate you, brother.
It's something worthy, somewhat worthy. So, and again, Motaz, thank you, brother. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Till next time, okay?
So, peace.
Have a good one, brother.
Thank you.